So I watched a movie tonight called The Other, and this is about a husband and wife who can't conceive, so they adopt a child. The child comes into their life, and of course, she brings her baggage with her, and things really start to fall apart once she enters their life. I thought this movie was pretty terrible. I really really don't want to overuse this term or this phrase when it comes to film criticism because I don't want it to lose its meaning, like somebody who says woke about everything and that's all they can come up with, and that's not a real criticism. But this is one I have used a few times. I'm really trying to you not use it as much, but this genuinely felt like it was written by AI. I don't know how else to say it. This is how it felt to me while watching the film. It just is like dialogue that doesn't make sense. There's scenes that are just so derivative of other films, but in a very non-organic and human way. So it feels like an amalgamation script that was written by older AI. Like I feel like modern nowadays AI could write a better script than this. I'm not saying they'd make an amazing script or anything. They might. I don't know. I don't want to see that. But regardless, this just feels so off. Like it starts at kind of like warp speed. We're just rushing right into it. They're just adopting the kid. We know very little about them. We know very little about the kid. The kid shows up and boom, we're kind of thrust into this story. And then the like the level of incompetence on the side of the parents and the lack of connection to the child. The child has no personality throughout a good majority of the film. She is mute and she is kind of almost emotionless. And so there's not really a bond where you can kind of buy that. I know they're supposed to be desperate parents, that they're like, we tried to have kids, we couldn't, we want a kid of our own, but and they're doing that typical, like, they're trying to get through to the kid, but it's not really working. And we've seen this plenty of times in other films, horror or otherwise. But this one, I just felt no connection to the parents, no connection to the kid, and no connection to them coming together as a family. And then it's just like kind of one trope after another, leading to a very bizarre ramped up ending, which I could see some people being like, well, the ending is worth it. But ultimately, the ending for me is still kind of safe and lame anyway. There was a moment there where they kind of psyched me out, and I thought they were going much darker and much harder with the ending, and I was like, okay, the ending kind of saved the experience. It would have still only just been like, that's a cool ending. The rest of the movie, no thank you. But a really solid, memorable ending is at least something. It's at least noteworthy. But this is just not. This is just one of those forgettable films. The only thing that will make me remember it is that Shawnee Smith is in it, which she was in my least favorite film I watched last year, which I absolutely obliterated. That's probably one of the maddest reviews I've ever had. I actually watched the film twice just to shit on it, which I never do, but it was so nonsensical. I had to do a spoiler discussion on it. I had to watch it again to make sure everything I saw that didn't make sense truly didn't make sense. It's not that level of bad. That movie, the Bloodline Killer is what it was called, is genuinely an abomination. That I don't know what that was written by. It wasn't written by AI. It wasn't written by a person. I don't know what the hell it was. They threw a fucking dictionary into a lawnmower and just took a picture of the words that landed near each other, and that's the script, I guess. That was something else. But this just feels so, as I said before, not to beat a dead horse, not to reiterate, didn't say the same shit, but off. Everything about it feels just off, and it was a bizarre watch. Um, as far as like the twist coming in the end, it's like been there, done that quite a few times. I'm not gonna say what movies do it, because if you want to remain spoiler free and check it out for yourself, I want you to go in spoiler free, of course. But man, this was a tough sit. This was a tough sit. I should have shut it off, but you know, there was some interesting things going on here and there that was like, okay, maybe this will go somewhere. The little girl in this, once she kind of has personality to some degree and she's fighting back, her performance is good, but the incompetence of the parents, and like, at what point do you tap out? At what point do you say, I'm in over my head? At what point do you say, I don't really have any connection to this kid. We should probably give her back. We are ill equipped to take care of this child. There's so many moments like that. There's stuff like growing in the pool. There's stuff in the backyard. There's all these like weird things that don't really come together for me, that I'm like thinking about and going, I don't really understand that. And what it all ends up being just isn't a very good explanation for me. And as I said, it's a been there, done that with tons of different films. And you get this moment where it's like, what the fuck? There is a very good performance by a girl with, I think, is Down syndrome or special needs. I thought she was great in her moments. She's Shawnee Smith's daughter in this, and that's definitely one of, if not the most high functioning Down syndrome actress or person that I've ever seen on screen. She was pretty killer, honestly, with her role. She brought something. I honestly thought she was the most charismatic and believable character in the movie. So that's unique. That's not often you can say that. But yeah, I just, man, I thought this was really bad. But it's entertaining in a what the fuck kind of way, where there's things happening, and I'm not recommending it. I definitely don't think you should watch it. But sitting through it, I was never like completely like done with the film, because I kind of just needed to know what was going to happen next. So I guess it kept me engaged. So I'll give it that. I gave it a 2 on Letterboxd. I always try to be fair. 2 out of 5. I think that's good. I went to a 1.5, and then I was like, well, the ending is pretty bonkers. Not in a great way or anything, but at least in a like, okay, I was not expecting that. And then it happens, and you're like, okay, and it's just kind of anticlimactic. And I don't know. It's a roller coaster of a watch. But yeah, not a recommendation. So, did anybody watch this one? Has anybody seen this one? Is anybody looking forward to this one? Anyway, I need to go to bed. But yeah, I watched 3 films tonight. I thought one was fucking awesome and fantastic. Kaylee and I are going to review that tomorrow. You'll have to wait and see to know what that is. But it's currently making my top 10, so fantastic. And then we have this, which I thought was like not good, like at all. Anyway, and then I watched Raw File, which you can watch the review on. So a little triple feature here. At least one was successful. You got to watch these. That's just it, guys. Like, I love to be able to tell you guys what to watch and what not to watch, and I hope that I can steer some of you to cool movies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you really got to watch a movie for yourself to see if it's for you. Because I've watched tons of reviews and I've heard plenty of things bad about tons of films, and I watch them and I love them, or I watch them and I agree. You know, realistically, you're never ever gonna know unless you watch the fucking movie. But if you do line up with me, which a good amount of you do, I hear it in the comments quite often. Yeah, I don't think you're going to like this one much. But, you know, at your own peril, if you want to check it out, let me know. And I'll see you in the comments. Adios.